Adventures of Sonic Episode 12, Birth of a Salesman. If Robotnik hates his robots so much that he's constantly insulting them, why doesn't he just scrap or reprogram them? He brought that on himself. He's just as stupid as they are for not just getting better robots. I like that Scratch points out that he already said the same insult. Like he's completely missing the point. A pushy salesman shows up at Robotnik's doorstep and says he'll gladly help supervillains with gadgets. Wait, why? What does he expect to gain from this? Supervillains wouldn't reward him. Scratch hates him at first, like I kinda do. But he changes his mind because Robotnik likes him, clearly because he's like him but more loony. He uses a gadget to siphon away the light in the room, causing Scratch to temporarily hug Robotnik in fear. Though we don't actually get to see him do that, which is a tremendous missed opportunity. The salesman has the guts to overcharge Robotnik for his gadgets, but for some reason Robotnik says he'll take it and shakes his hand, with no indication that he gypped him of his money or stole it from him. This is so ridiculous. The gadget is used against Sonic, and Grounder says the Darkinator sprung a leak and he can't see where it is. Sonic takes advantage of the fact that he can simply crawl to be able to see and ties rope around Scratch, foiling their plans. At least he was obscured by the darkness and spoke with a funny voice, which probably explains why they were fooled, because he didn't need a disguise, except not because Sonic was the only one around them at the time. Like, why would he think that Sonic disappeared and was replaced with someone else? Then the salesman offers a freeze ray, and he blasts Robotnik with it by accident thanks to one of his robots, but completely unrealistically again. Someone like Robotnik doesn't furiously lash out at him because of it. I don't think he would just put up with being victimized. That's ridiculous. Scratch and Grounder prove that they're the reason Robotnik fails because they somehow manage to freeze themselves with the freeze ray. Then Sonic actually melts them, graphically at that, because he ran around them creating fire. This is surprising to see, since they're apparently supposed to be the lovable robot sidekicks that we see all the time. Robotnik lampshading that he shouldn't repair them doesn't make up for the fact that he did. He says that he's much too sentimental. I guess that would explain why other Robotniks don't roboticize Snively, but still, Robotnik sentimental? I say that as a joke to have the only explanation possible for why Robotnik doesn't kill or roboticize Snively. After Scratch gets mad at the salesman blaming him for his failure, when it's obvious that his gadgets are great and it's just the robots using them that suck, I wonder why it's not Robotnik who's fighting Sonic with them by himself as the salesman Weasley shows off an anti-gravity laser. Where does he get the guts to test out the laser on Robotnik? Robotnik is perfectly fine with it and says that Sonic can't use his speed when anti-gravity-ified. When he's made to fall to the floor instead of being let down gently, he yells at his own robots and not Weasley. Tails looks depressed and Sonic is near him, and he complains that there's not enough action for him. I like that Tails lampshades that he's already had to deal with danger today, so he can't stand going a day without getting death threats. Sonic's so bored that he runs around at super speed pointlessly, and then he's made to float. His "I'm weightless" line is extremely cringeworthy because the actor tries to say it like his creepy catchphrase, which is forced and creepy. You know, Tails can fly. Why does he have a problem with the anti-gravity field? Maybe the anti-gravity field also paralyzes them. Sonic tries to manipulate Scratch into freeing them from the field. Sonic lies that they can get away faster because without gravity, Tails can fly him around. I'm glad he does this to be useful. Scratch says that he can take off his anti-gravity boots to come up to catch him, getting himself trapped in his own anti-gravity field. For no reason, he can't catch him when Tails was able to fly Sonic just fine, and yet he's able to move at all. So they can't move, but they can move? So Sonic has Grounder turn off the field and they all fall down. Robotnik lampshades that he's recycling by fixing Scratch and Grounder. Yeah, he is! So why is he doing this? It's just dumb meta logic. The whole concept of Robotnik constantly using dumb robot sidekicks against Sonic, the same one every time, is extremely forced and stupid because there's no way you keep putting up with him after one episode. This is really annoying. He gets angry at Weasley, and not the robots. He insists that his contraptions don't work when it was clearly his robots' fault. It looks like he attacked Robotnik here since Robotnik yelled out in pain. I was surprised he didn't kick the salesman out right there since he was being so mad at him. He shrinks away one of his robots. Robotnik shows how stupid he is by saying that he doesn't want Sonic to disappear. He wants him in a dungeon so he can gloat at him. Then Weasley says that he can rematerialize Sonic whenever he wants. There's an idiot plot moment because Weasley actually put a switch on it that he doesn't know what it even does, and Robotnik wants to press it. How could you not know what a switch does on your own machine? Weasley is told that he's going to supervise Scratch and Grounder. Then there's no excuse for him being blamed for the robots' screw-ups since he was the witness to their screw-ups and he should tell him. Sonic's hit with the ray because of Scratch hitting the wrong button. The red switch clones Sonic and Scratch lampshades that the ray did the exact opposite of what Robotnik wanted. So how are they going to explain away these clone Sonics not being in later episodes? Sonic orders the other Sonics to roll the corn stalks into a ball to send after the robots while he stands around doing nothing. Nothing different from Robotnik.
Ready? Fire! And fire!
Then Sonic, who's all alone with Weasley for some reason, making me wonder where the other Sonics— oh, they're here! They just weren't in the shop for some reason. Weasley acts cowardly and then says he'll form the clones back into Sonic. Sonic says that's the way he wants to keep it, I guess because he's arrogant and doesn't want anyone to share the credit with him. But logically he should keep these clones around and send them all over Mobius so more of Mobius can be protected from Robotnik's tyranny. What an idiot! Also logically, I don't see why the clone Sonics would want to basically be murdered by being fused together with Sonic. Logically, I think they would all just run away and want to live their own lives since they're clones of him and would thus have the same brains as him. Sonic can only really protect the small area of Mobius that he's around in. Logically, Robotnik should just move. Just move to another country. Weasley complains to Sonic that Robotnik's the toughest customer he's ever had, and yet he was crazy enough to want to help him in the first place. And when he says someone should give him what he deserves, he has terrible acting. Speaking of crazy, Robotnik has a destructive temper tantrum, so he at least throws stuff at the robots actually responsible for his failure. I like that when Sonic shows up to Robotnik in a gadget salesman disguise, he's actually wearing a shark suit, with no indication that he's Sonic except for the fact that he doesn't bother to disguise his voice. Almost there, but no dice. If all of his disguises were like this, and he actually disguised his voice, then he'd be almost there. But again, how did he get that disguise, and why is no one questioning that he's there and not Sonic? Sonic uses all of Weasley's gadgets against Robotnik and his robots, which results in freezing them in ice cubes with their bodies actually switched, which is creepy looking. So wait, he just leaves them like that? Shouldn't that take down Robotnik forever? I guess he waited for his ice cube to melt and then reverse the damage done to him because Sonic was too stupid to just destroy all of those gadgets. If he had done that, that would have been much smarter. And better yet, he should have just killed him or at least put him in a prison, which would have been child's play since he's trapped in Ice Cube. Sonic had the perfect opportunity to take down Robotnik once and for all, and he didn't. Granted, that'd be anticlimactic since Robotnik didn't have a very threatening, menacing plan the whole episode, which is apparently all that's needed, since the defeat of Robotnik was still just as quick in the comic as Sadigam anyways. Either way, this only proves that Sonic isn't as much of a hero as he claims to be in the show. He's just intentionally keeping Robotnik and his robots in power because, as he demonstrated here, he couldn't stand life without them.
I hate sitting around with nothing going on, so Robotnik's Badniks came at me with the Dark Ray and a Freeze Ray.
What more do you want?
Action, Jackson!
He needs to constantly be dodging and avoiding traps or he'd be miserable from the lack of action in his life. He can't exactly join a sports team because his super speed would be cheating. And the only other option would be abusing his super speed to break the law, like beating up criminals as a vigilante at best if he wants thrills and excitement so much. Because, well, what's he supposed to do? He can't know that crime is going to happen whenever it happens, no matter where in the world it is. and then run after a criminal. Like, the only way you could know that there's a criminal is if he either runs around the world so he eventually stumbles into him, or he just goes to the police. Why not become a cop then? And even then, it wouldn't be that thrilling because you just run up to the criminal and catch him immediately. It wouldn't be as difficult. The point is, Sonic shouldn't have let such a perfect opportunity to set Mobius free go to waste. He's not gonna set Mobius free, because he doesn't want to.
If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably false.
This doesn't anger me as much as when Short Fuse pulled something like this, because it was a huge out-of-character moment for Short Fuse. And this is just a dumb kids cartoon at the end of the day. Well, Fleetway I took more seriously. This doesn't make me mad, it's just extremely baffling. Sonic could have easily used his speed to get a wagon, put Robotnik on it, knock him out, tie him up, and put him in a prison. Anyways, annoying voice for the loony salesman aside, I think this was an interesting episode. It wasn't Robotnik making the inventions for once, it was this guy. But there's absolutely no reason he would help Robotnik. It would have actually worked if he had been forced into it, but then we wouldn't have had the concept of the salesman going up to Eggman like a door-to-door salesman, which is forced by definition. It's not like he's being paid to do this. Why is it called Birth of a Salesman when this probably isn't the first time he's ever been a salesman? It definitely isn't, since he said Robotnik was his toughest customer, as if he's had other customers before him. I doubt they were naming the episode in a kids show a pun off Birth of a Nation, so why did they name it that? I guess I like this episode, but another reason its plot fell apart was that Robotnik kept putting up with his robots when they were the whole reason for the failures instead of just going after Sonic with the gadgets himself. Or sending Weasley to do it. Why doesn't he just reassign Scratch and Grounder to positions other than trap people? Why doesn't he put them on sewer patrol? It was frustrating that Robotnik insisted on fixing Scratch and Grounder constantly and actually blamed Weasley for their failures. It's completely unrealistic that Robotnik would do that instead of immediately scrapping them for spare parts for being such failures. You could say Sonic show, but he would have done that in Sad AM and in the comic. And probably even in the games too.
I don't know why I'm bothering to repair you. I'm just too sentimental for my own good.
The whole concept is just forced at its very foundation. Orbot and Cubot actually work specifically because they're not constantly sent out against Sonic to use traps against them. So they aren't constantly being failures, making me wonder why they're not scrapped already. Well, I haven't watched the Sonic Boom show, but it's not zany like this show, so I have a feeling that it wouldn't have that in there. Instead, they're assigned to menial tasks that they can't screw up, like kidnapping Wisps, which is much better writing because it makes actual sense. And plus, they don't have extremely annoying voices, even if I like Scratch and Grounder's designs more than Orbot's. I feel like while this kind of stupidly genre-blind and wacky characterization is good for Eggman, the fact that he has Robotnik's black and red eye design just makes it the worst written Robotnik there's ever been. Because the design and characterization don't work together, and he's in direct contrast with every other Robotnik. And his behavior is unrealistically stupid for someone in his position. He's a gadgeteer and a dictator wannabe. We could have just had different robots every time. Why do we need Scratch and Grounder for every episode? It's not like they're deep characters, they're just bumbling robots. Characters like Nicole and Sally are irreplaceable, but dumb robots are a dime a dozen. It's just because they're nostalgic characters we're used to that already have a reputation for constantly being in the show that this idea would ever be balked at. Because in retrospect, sure, but if you're just seeing like the first episode, you can already tell why did these guys keep showing up. I guess they have charm, but they're so stupid. And the Sonic Says message says you shouldn't trust scam artists. No shit.